Okay, and welcome to my channel, and another example of how we used to do things but don't quite do the same thing anymore. This is a Smith boiler, which they no longer make. I've done other videos on this, and you see here we use a lot more copper than we do now. The equalizer line we make out of steel. And this is the a wet return in copper, and there's a drain there for servicing, so we can dip it out if necessary. This is the Harford loop here, and this is the feeder line right there. Split ring hanger and the VXT with the manual bypass and the shut off there. There's the barometric set up for gas with the block flue switches there. We don't quite do it like that anymore. This is the gas line that we installed, the Carlin burner. This was one of the first boilers that allowed the firing of a gas burner. Skim tapping. I'm going to turn that off for now. We're going to let that run for a little bit. And what's unusual, and okay, this is our sight glass with, of course, our sight glass blowdown. And what's a little unusual about this is that we installed this with when they got rid of the oil and switched over to gas. We installed an indirect fired water heater to this. So this is the outlet here, and this is the limiter, and this one has a very long probe which goes into the unit, and if the temperature gets too high, let's say 180 or so, it shuts it down, shuts the boiler down, and keep steam from being created when you only want to run this during the summer. So we've got a 1-inch flow through here. We've got a bronze circulator. Now normally we would use a 3-piece circulator on this one, but the 3-piece circulators are really getting low quality, so we're gonna see if this wet rotor type is gonna last in this application. So we're gonna find out. It goes into here. There's a drain for purging and draining and servicing. There was a lot of sludge in this thing after 10 years worth of use. There's a stainless steel coil inside, and then there's the return with the drain there. And then you have the return going back. There's a flow check. Now we had a couple of years back, we had a problem with this flow check that it failed. And the reason why it failed is, although the components look like they're non-ferrous, there is a critical steel component inside that rusted out, which was, let's just say, a little bit annoying. But pretty much didn't have much choice in dealing with that. Then we got another isolation valve, and then there's the return. Now at some point we probably want to take that plug out and put a bushing and a drain in there. So this is the indirect. It's a Senstor Ultra, which we got through Ari Michael, and this is the unit that calls for heat. And I said that calls for heat, and that keeps it from getting too hot when there's no call for steam. So if there's a call for steam heat, this gets a bit too hot. So there's a bypass here which keeps the temperature from, you don't want to run boiling water through that pump volute there. It doesn't really work very well. So you open the bypass to allow less high temperature water in here, so you're not boiling water inside the volute here at the low pressure point. That's the drain for the tank for the domestic water side. There's the relief, and there's the outlet for the unit there. So there is no central flue, so this thing produces a lot of hot water when it's working. A little bit more complicated to run. That's its primary disadvantage. And of course, the initial expense of this is fairly high too. But in theory, it should be able to last a lot longer than a standard steel hot water tank. At least that's the theory. So we had the 3-piece circ in here, and we took it out of service because this thing started dripping and failing, and wasn't pumping very well. And you can see the volute is in pretty good shape. There wasn't a whole lot of cavitation in there. The impeller is in good shape. A lot of times on the situations like this, the impeller just shreds because it is plastic, and if it gets too hot, it doesn't last very long. So I thank you very much for your comments, and I hope this was useful. We learned something. We both learned something on this, and I stay healthy and be well.